Hey YouTube, I'm gonna try this one more time, and if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna go back to it later. Okay, so I'm gonna be reviewing Ahsoka, the series. Probably do weekly updates, and I'm gonna separate episode 1 and 2 because they were released on Tuesday. I'll probably wait a couple of days, and I'll probably have them uploaded by Friday. Just I say review, but it's probably gonna be more like a deep dive, just because there's so much going on. And like, if you haven't watched, Rebels, it's gonna be a lot. And I think they were trying to, not overwhelm the audience, because they just wanted you to like look at it from a fresh perspective. So there are jokes online with the memes saying it's Rebels season 5, and if you watch Rebels, then you probably know why. But in that case, I did want to do a little breakdown, just a little intro of who Ahsoka is. She was a Jedi. She well, in the show they're calling her a Jedi, so I'm gonna say she's a Jedi. But she actually was a Padawan to Anakin Skywalker. And we are introduced to Ahsoka in Clone Wars, the movie, where she becomes his apprentice against his wishes. Yoda assigns Ahsoka to Anakin Skywalker, but he's confused because it's Obi-Wan's turn to actually have an apprentice. Like, Anakin, this was right after episode 2, so he is no longer a Padawan, he is a knight now. And now with the rank of knight, he can have Padawan. So Yoda knew what he was doing when he did that. He knew that Anakin Skywalker needed Ahsoka because they were gonna discipline each other. They were gonna teach each other lessons that Anakin desperately needed to learn. And with that being said, the apprentice taught a lot to Anakin, and it's just such a crazy saga story. Like, Clone Wars is just amazing show. It's just so amazing, and it just chronicles their adventures, and like, it really goes into everything Star Wars. It's just so fun to watch. And so, okay, we're gonna be at the end of Clone Wars where they part, and like, there's a reason why you don't see Ahsoka in the prequels. She's just she is just gone from the Jedi Order. She was betrayed. Anakin was basically the only one on her side. She still couldn't stay after he asked her to come back. She had to follow her own journey. And this is where also Tales of the Jedi come in. If you have not watched Tales of the Jedi, it is amazing. And it also is crucial to Ahsoka's story. It shows her origins. It shows what she did after Clone Wars. Just amazing. Just amazing. And so she does appear in Rebels. Obviously, that's what we're here about. And reoccurring characters, main characters from Rebels are now in Ahsoka. So it's like Ahsoka was kind of appearing in Rebels, like here and there, and so I guess now it's her turn to have her own show, and the Rebels crew, the Ghost crew, is going to be appearing every here and there. So I just wanted to do a little intro of Rebels, the characters in Rebels, because it's such a great show. Rebels is probably my favorite Star Wars. Like, it just covers so much. Ezra Bridger, he is very powerful in the Force. He is Kanan Jarrus Padawan. And at this point, Rebels takes place after episode 3, between episode 4. So there's a lot, obviously there's a big time gap in between that. Ezra's important because his birthday is on Empire Day, and so he's really kind of he's a young man at this point, you know, probably like 17, and Ahsoka's probably like in her 30s by now. So in Clone Wars, she was like a child, like 14 when it started, and like now she's like in her 30s. So it's been about like 15 years since Empire Day. Okay, so yeah, we're in between episode 3 and 4, and Kanan was a Padawan when Order 66 happened. He actually appears in the Bad Batch. He is one of the main characters in Rebels, but it talks about how he survived that, and Bad Batch actually shows how he survives, and so he never got to finish his training either. So Ahsoka never finished her training. She didn't go back to the Jedi Order. She just was just doing her. She was neutral basically at this point. And yeah, so we have Ezra Bridger, we have Kanan, and then we have Ghost Pilot, Twi'lek. Sorry, Hera Syndulla, who's a Twi'lek. She has the tails, and she's green. They come in, they're different colors, so she's green, and there's other ones out there too. Sabine Wren is Mandalorian, so she is their weapons and techs expert. And there's also Zeb, and he is muscle. That's what it just says on here on Wikipedia. And of course we have astromech droid C1-10P, or also known as Chopper, who is my absolute favorite droid of all time. So we have these 6 characters. They're the Ghost Crew, and they do interfere with Ahsoka, and Ahsoka comes in Rebels, and it's crucial storyline. So if you want to understand Ahsoka, you gotta go and watch that. I promise you, it's fun. It's a fun fucking ride. Alright. So, those are the animated series, mind you. There's Mandalorian, and then there's Boba Fett, which are live action, obviously. But Ahsoka appears in both of them, and those episodes are totally crucial because Ahsoka takes place like right after that Mandalorian episode. So at this point, this is where we're at now. We get a little scrolling intro, not the little disappearing one, but it's red text. I just wanted to throw that in there because, you know, I love the intros. And then at this point, there's no Empire. It's a New Republic, and it's barely starting. It's pretty fragile. There were rumors of Thrawn being out there, who was a major threat in Rebels. He is just this conniving, this like calm and like very collected, just villain, you know, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He was just very cool as a cucumber. Like, nothing can faze this guy. He is scary. He is like he is a pretty crazy character in Star Wars. I'll give him that. Okay, so he's a threat, and if he is alive, that could start a whole new war, and the New Republic can just fall easily, because like everyone is basically still loyal to the Empire at this point, which I don't understand. Yeah, so make me understand. Okay, so New Republic, and we start off with a ship, and it is carrying a prisoner who is in Mandalorian. Her name is Morgan Elspeth, and she is in the same episode of Mandalorian that I'm talking about, Ahsoka, called I believe it's episode 6, The Jedi. Pretty sure that's what it's called. And they're transporting this prisoner so she can, get her New Republic trial, so they can get justice, and just put a message out there to people that are still loyal to the freaking Empire, like, hey, it's not gonna stand. So yeah, they're escorting her to her trial, but they get intercepted by a ship, and it's an unknown ship, and they're claiming to be Jedi. So they come aboard, and they dock. They come out, and he's like, y'all are like Imperial trash. He calls them Imperial trash, and then he says, yeah, y'all don't look like. He's like, y'all are Jedi? Like, what the? He's not fooling this captain. Like, they're not fooling this captain at all. Like, this captain was not messing around. He went from the bridge to that dock and was just like, what's going on here? Like, who are y'all? What are y'all doing here? He's like, they're like, it's an old man, and who's Ray Stevenson, and a blonde Padawan, basically, that we don't know who they are. And they're there to see the prisoner. Well, the captain's not buying their shit, and they basically attack the captain. So he stabs him, and then he basically, tells him, he's like, you're right. We are no Jedi. It was so badass. Like, Ray Stevenson. R.I.P. My condolences to the family. Such a tragedy that he died. He did such a great job in this episode. Like, I'm so glad they dedicated that episode to him. So they fight. They fight the captain. They fight his detail. They go to his apprentice goes to the bridge. She starts kicking everyone's ass. She kills everyone, and you can tell they're not Jedi because they're just killing people left and right. He's going down, like, they're separated at this point, and he's going down this hallway, and he's moving like he's not moving like a Jedi, even though they both have lightsabers, and they're obviously stabbing everyone. So he also does the Force choke, which I guess he's been training with Darth Vader, or either Darth Vader trained people how he fought, and they trained him. And at this point, I guess I'm just gonna say it's Baylan Skoll. So he has like similar fighting techniques as Darth Vader, which is pretty disturbing if you think about it. Like, someone else that can fight like him, they're maybe not be like as powerful, but still, it's a pretty scary thought for this new government, and they're trying to hold on to this fragile democracy that they're trying to build, a better galaxy. Okay, so at this point they free the prisoner, and she informs him that she ran into Ahsoka. Ahsoka was obviously the one to lock her up. Sorry, spoiler alert. he warns her Ahsoka knows about the map, and she knows where Thrawn is with the map. So now we get introduced to Ahsoka, and she is on a desolate planet. She's walking through these ruins, and she stops. She looks at the ground. She basically cuts a hole in the ground and goes to this like underground temple, and there's these statues, and they're holding orbs, and there's lines like all over with patterns all over this temple. It's like circular, and she's walking around it, messing with these pillars, the tops of them, and they're still lining them up to these orbs, and they light up, and all of a sudden the pillars start coming down, and then one of them rises in the center, and it's like this prism thing, and she kind of, it crumbles, and exposed is another orb, and she's looking at it, and okay, she's like, she calms in with Yuang, and she's like, okay, where are you? And they don't really have a strong signal, so he gets kind of like, you know, like static and stuff, so she can't understand them. So she goes, she goes back above ground where there's an assassin droid waiting for her, and you know, she warns him. She gets out her lightsaber, and she's like, you know, don't come at me. And if you've seen, you know, Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian even, she kicks ass. So it's like, she's warning you for a reason. And he says, like, us? And she's like, what do you mean us? And then all of a sudden, you know, all these droids appear, and she has to like fight them off. And once they realize they cannot defeat her, they pretty much self-destruct. So like 3 of them like are in this self-destruct mode, and so she's like running away, and she finally gets a hold of Yuang, which is a robot on her ship. Droid on her ship, and he's actually a crucial figure in Rebels, because he was actually the robot that helped Padawans make their lightsabers. So he is very knowledgeable about Jedis and all sorts of information, just everything Jedi. And so I guess that's why she just kind of kept him around. I'm talking, this droid's been around for thousands of years, like crazy. And he's in charge of making, or, you know, logging all of the lightsabers. Just remember that. Okay, so she tells him at this point she's got the key. And I'm probably going to call it key, map. It's an orb, whatever. So she goes to the Home One, which is one of the New Republic ships, where she is met with Hera, our beloved general. She is telling Ahsoka that her prisoner got away, and Ahsoka tells her that she actually has good news, that she has the key to the secret map for Thrawn. And with that, she thinks Ezra can be found too, because Ezra and Thrawn disappeared together with the Perkles, yeah, the whales, the space whales. Okay. Secret map. So they don't think Thrawn's dead, and with that, there's possibility that Ezra is alive too, because the Purcells are able to travel, you know, where do they fucking go? I'm having a brain fart. But you know what I'm talking about. They can light speed travel. There you go, light speed travel. So, all right, enough of that. So, Hera tells Ahsoka, you know who's perfect and can help you with this is Sabine Wren. And Ahsoka is not excited about this news at all. It's obviously there's tension between them. She's like saying that Sabine does not want to see her, and Hera thinks that this supersedes everything. She just has to mention Ezra's name, and she's like, she'll do it. Like, Hera is like, she'll fucking do it. Okay, so we cut to it's like a ceremony where they're there to celebrate the rebels, and there's also the mural in the back that Sabine Wren did, and you know it has the Ghost Crew. So this huge ceremony with the mayor, which is the same guy that was in Rebels. He's in Rebels, and he actually plays the same character in real life. So that's pretty cool that they got the same actor to be in Ahsoka. I was so excited when I saw that. It's Clancy Brown, I believe his name is. I'm not too sure. Don't judge me too harshly for that. So, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Sabine Wren basically flees the ceremony. She doesn't go the ceremony that she's supposed to give a speech and, you know, say whatever, like how honored she is. I don't know. But she's commander at this point, so Commander Sabine Wren. She's probably there to protect Lothal, the promise she made to Ezra before, you know, his inevitable departure, I guess. So she actually goes to the comm tower that Ezra was staying in before she knew him. That's the same comm tower that Ezra was in, and it's also decorated in Sabine fashion, which, bravo. Sabine is a very talented artist. She did the mural, like I said, for the in the back, but she also, you know, she would just do paint jobs for all the ships. Her armor, her Mandalorian armor, is just, you know, decorated in Sabine fashion, of course. So Sabine looks a little rough, not gonna lie. We always see her with the short hair, and it's always these crazy colors, and now it's pretty unkept. She has very long hair. The top part of it's purple, the bottom of it is like red, orange. It looks like it's on fire. It looks really pretty, but she just looks like she just hasn't been taking care of herself. Her nail polish is all chipped. It doesn't look like she's done art in a very long time, which is kind of sad because that's how we knew Sabine. She was just a painter. And, you know, the only thing she really, like, does is take care of Olof's cat. And I guess that's because it reminds her of Ezra. She also goes into her little ritual of watching the little hologram of Ezra's last message to her, which is very touching. You know, it was just so sweet. And it's almost like she looks at it every day, I guess, just to remind herself like what she's doing there and the promise that she kept to him. So now we cut to the Padawan, and she's very blonde, so I'm just gonna call her Blonde Padawan. And they're on a planet with Morgan, surrounded by these ruins. It's the same planet that Ahsoka was on, and for some reason I cannot think of the name right now. And Morgan explains that it was an ancient temple of the Night Sisters of Dathomir, which are witches, and they are crucial to Clone Wars and Rebels. It goes into like this is where Darth Maul is from, so it gets crazy. I said Darth Maul. I know. If you haven't seen it, then yeah, you're probably mind blown right now. So if you have not seen Rebels, yeah, you need to go see Rebels. That's it. That's just the bottom freaking line. Okay. So she talks about the Night Sisters of Dathomir, and at this point, I am hoping that we are going to fucking see the bad bitch herself, and I'm talking about Miss Ventress. I love her. I just want to see her, and I'm really hoping that they show her. I don't know if she's alive at this point or what, but if Ahsoka's here, I'm pretty sure they can get Ventress. Ventress is such a great character too. Oh, I just had to throw that in there. I'm sorry. I'm getting way off. But I did write that down because I was just like, oh my god, the Night Sisters, that would be so cool. And Bayland is accompanied by somebody. We don't know who it is at this point. They've got a mask, they got like a helmet on, and he just comes in with Bayland, and they proceed to tell Morgan, like, it's gone. So Ahsoka has the map. They confirmed it. And Morgan is like, okay, we'll send blonde Padawan to Lothal. And, like, blonde Padawan's like, why am I doing this? And, basically, what's his name? I'm sorry, I have to write everything down. Bayland. So he tells her, we're not actually looking for Ahsoka, but her apprentice, which is Sabine Wren. So now we know that Ahsoka was Sabine's master. I think they kind of mentioned it. I'm not sure. It's kind of a blur right now. And so they have their target. They have Sabine Wren and Lothal. And they go back to Sabine. She's asleep at this point. She is having like a fit in her sleep, and she hears Ezra's voice. And he's saying, may the Force be with you. And she wakes up, and she says Ezra's name. And we're like, okay. And so she gets her proximity sensor goes off, and she goes outside and she sees Ahsoka's ship going toward downtown Lothal. And so she already knows Ahsoka's here, and they go and meet. She goes and meets her, and along with the mayor, who chews her out about not even being at her own ceremony. And there's obvious tension between Ahsoka and Sabine, and it's very awkward. It's very tense. And she tells her, about the key, about the map, about Thrawn, but most importantly, she thinks she knows how to get Ezra back. So Sabine goes back with Ahsoka and Yang in the ship, and she explains to her, hey, we took a scan, and this is the little key. And sorry, brain fart. Yang tells Ahsoka in private. They're away from Sabine at this point, and he tells her about the lightsabers that the Skull and Padawan have. He was able to scan the footage that Hera showed Ahsoka, and was able to determine whose lightsaber it was. One of them he didn't recognize, but he said they were built the same way as the Jedis. So Ahsoka says they're Jedi trained. And then he says it's possible. And then he recognizes one, and it's finally, he says, Balin's skull. So, I want to call them rebels. The rebels at this point are, getting their information on Skull, and Skull's getting their information on them. So they're pretty much, pretty much already there. Like, yeah. Sabine takes off with the map and the scans, and she goes back to the comm tower because she needs to think. She needs to think more clearly. That's what she told them. So Ahsoka's mad at this point, and she's talking to Hera, and Hera's like, hologram. She's on the home one still, so, generally. And she tells Ahsoka, like, she's stubborn, she's Mandalorian, and, she took it hard when Ahsoka walked away, and, Ahsoka says something to the point where, I never finished my training with Anakin, and she never finished her training with Sabine. So she drew parallels there, and it was just interesting. She just walked away. That's what she said. She walked away from Jedi. She walked away from Sabine. So I think that's something that she just really, really regrets, because we know Ahsoka to be very brave, loyal, stubborn, and she calls Sabine stubborn and bullish, but she herself was like that as well. Now Ahsoka's already like 45 at this point, so we can all see how they have all grown into adults. Like, well, they were adults already, but it was just interesting to see. And yeah, so Sabine is back at the comm tower. She's, trying to figure out this key, and she messes with it almost like a Rubik's Cube, and she figures it out. And, like, as soon as she figures it out, she takes a break. Understandably so. So, she takes a break, and then she's playing with a little cat. And the little cat starts freaking out, and she gets attacked by an assassin droid. So, she is able to, like, snatch his gun and, like, shoot him in the leg. And she gets away and kills it. And then she grabs Ezra's lightsaber, and she goes downstairs, where she is met with blonde Padawan, and they start, like, just fighting and, like, dueling. And this Padawan also has, like, Beskar, so I guess she's Mandalorian. And they start fighting, and she is very well trained, this blonde Padawan, and Sabine is just kind of struggling, but she's fighting hard. She's just struggling. And then Huyang and Ahsoka are on their way to come help her, because she comes in to Huyang. She doesn't ask for Ahsoka for help. She asks Huyang for help. And they're like in downtown Lithal, so they have to go all the way to the comm tower, and they race over there. And as soon as they get there, the fight's over. Blonde Padawan basically stabs Sabine in the left side, and like where the lung is, and she collapses on the floor, and that's it. It's credits. So I just wanted to say it was a very, there's a lot of action going on. And I think they were just trying to put things in place, just so you could understand a little bit more. Because people that haven't watched Rebels are watching this, they're just putting everything in its place, in its right place. But so far it was good, strong pilot. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. Just because I think they were trying to not overwhelm the audience, and there was tons of Easter eggs. So I mean, it was such a delight as a Rebels fan just to watch. Like, the whole episode was just great, and yeah, it was more than I wanted. It was way more than I ever wanted. It was just great. So 8 out of 10. And just keep an eye out for part 2. I'm not gonna do it now. I'll probably do it later. But yeah, almost 40 minutes. Yikes. Okay, I'm gonna have to work on this.